In this lesson, we will return to the subject of intellectual property rights on AI systems. As said, intellectual property includes any creations of the mind or intellect and is divided in two categories: copyright, which includes any literary and artistic works, and industrial property, which includes patents, trademarks, and designs, all having as a fundamental characteristic an industrial application. In our first lesson about intellectual property, we have learned that an AI system can be protected by copyright as a creative invention. It now remains to be seen whether and to what extent an AI system can be patentable. First of all, a patent is a legal title that gives inventors the right for a limited period of time, usually 20 years, to prevent others from making, using or selling their invention without their permission in the countries for which the patent has been granted. Patents have territorial effect and usually must be applied for either in front of each single patent offices of the country in which the inventor has an interest in obtaining them, or through a simplified procedure in front of the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, in Geneva, or in front of the European Patent Office in Munich, EPO, to obtain a European patent that, in short, is a bundle of national patents granted for all EU states at the same time. Like copyright, also patents grant both moral and economic rights. Moral rights consist of the right to be recognized as the author of the invention. They belong always and only to the inventor, and can also be claimed by the inventor descendant after his or her death. Moral rights cannot be alienated or transferred to third parties. Patrimonial rights consist of right to the economic exploitation of the patented invention and can be sold, assigned, or anyhow transferred to third parties. Patrimonial rights generally belong to the inventor of the industrial invention unless the invention was made in performance of a contract or an employment relationship in which the inventive activity is the subject of the contract or relationship itself and the inventor is paid for it. In the latter case, the patrimonial rights belong to the employer or principal. Now, let's see what condition an invention must have to be patentable. Firstly, it must meet the novelty requirement. An invention is novel or new if it does not form part of the state of the art, i.e., it was not available to the public in written or oral form, by use or in any other way, before the filing of the patent application. Then it must involve an inventive step. This means that a person with the ordinary skills in the particular field of technology of the invention cannot consider the invention as obvious, nor can easily deduce it from publicly available information. Thirdly, the invention must be susceptible to industrial application. This means that it must be used in industrial or manufacturing processes. Looking at AI, the WIPO Technology Trends Report issued in 2019 highlighted that patent applications for the AI systems filed have increased exponentially between 2013 and today. However, considering the requirements for patentability, not all AI components can obtain a patent. In fact, we must also take into account that under IP laws cannot be considered as invention discoveries, scientific theories and mathematical methods, for example, mere algorithms. scams, rules and methods for performing mental acts, playing games or doing business, and programs for computers, for example source code. And presentations of information. All the above mentioned methods, computer programs and activities cannot be patented if claimed as such. In other words, abstract or mere sets of commands are not patentable. Instead, they must be strictly associated with technical means, without a computer nor a device, and must be able to solve a technical problem. In other words, they must be able to be applied to the industrial field. As we can immediately note, such a limitation grossly affects the patentability of AI-based systems that, accordingly to European Commission's definition, can consist only of software acting in the virtual world, e.g. voice assistants, image analysis software, search engines, voice and facial recognition systems, or incorporate AI into hardware devices, e.g. in advanced robots, self-driving cars, drones, or Internet of Things applications. Now, as stressed by EPO guidelines for patent applications, artificial intelligence and machine learning, such as neural networks, genetic algorithms, support vector machines, k-means, kernel regression, and discriminant analysis, are based on computational models and algorithms for classification, clustering, and so on, that are per se of an abstract mathematical nature. However, their practical impact in various fields of technology cannot be ignored. Therefore, the EPO indicates that with respect to AI, they may be patentable even if they are based on abstract computational models or classification method, if they contribute to the solution of a technical problem, their technical features involve inventive activity that makes a new and innovative contribution compared to the state of the art, even for a person skilled in the sector, and the patent application is clear and sufficiently descriptive with regard to the ability of AI to solve technical problems. It means that from reading the patent description, any expert in the field must be able to implement the invention.